Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DVMUG Zoom meeting for April 16th, 2024. I'm Peter Weiler, and I'll be your host today. And we'll follow the usual format of news, a miscellany piece, and then some videos. After that, there will be a question and answer session, and if we have any time, a chance to socialize. So let's get started. This week's news. As usual, we have printed the URLs, the links to the articles of the news, and you can actually get a clickable version of this on the BBS in the DVMUG folder. Also, John is kind enough to post them in our chat for this meeting. And the first one is from Chance Miller and 9 to 5 Mac. Apple's aiming to release the first M4 powered Macs this year with a focus on artificial intelligence. So with the pending M4 chips, we're still at the M3 level. Apple is planning, this is a quote, a new family of in-house processors designed to highlight artificial intelligence. They'll come in 3 varieties, and Apple plans to update every Mac model with it. This transition will start later this year and include a lower-end MacBook Pro, a higher-end MacBook Pro, both of those 14-inch, and also the 16-inch MacBook Pro model. And then they also will refresh the Mac Mini, all with these M4 chips. Then they have plans for more M4 Macs during 2025, including updates to the 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Pro Air. That should happen by the spring, and the Mac Studio around the middle of the year. And look for, if you're the high-end user, a Mac Pro, updated Mac Pro model in 2025. Are there any questions or comments?
Yeah, Peter, I'd like to add,
Yes.
those new chips that are going to be put out. Apple also plans on increasing the memory up to a 0.5 terabyte. The story goes on that all that AI is going to be processed on the computer. It's not going to be processed with servers someplace else. It'll be processed on the computer right there for you.
Oh. Well, that is very interesting. So we're going to get 500 gigabytes of memory within these new chips?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. That just another thing. That's not that's just about the third of the memory that we were able to get under Intel, but it's enough and fast enough that it probably, if they want to, they could do away with the SSD or something. There's enough memory in there to load everything. But it's just my thought on it.
Yeah, interesting. Well, the next article is by Jason Cross. It's from Macworld. How Apple made Safari about 60% faster in just half a year. So this is interesting. In the 6 months between the release of Safari 17, OS 17, I'm sorry, it is Safari 17, and Safari 17.4, the latter came out in March of this year, Apple focused on optimizing performance, and they did this by having many incremental improvements, little ones, which wouldn't amount to much alone, but altogether provided a 60% increase. They measure this performance with an application called Speedometer version 3.0. Apple actually introduced Speedometer a couple years ago, I think, but this is the new version, and it was done, built in collaboration with Microsoft, Google, and Mozilla. So these companies finally are working together, and they've come out with an agreement about which tests are the most important representations of the modern web. And I think for most users, just how fast is this web? And that's about the only thing that they focus on, but there are a lot of parameters built into it. So Speedometer 3.0 is thought to be the most fair and up-to-date measurement of web browser performance available at this time. Any questions or comments? Okay. Here's one that is speculation, but there is some hard evidence that it might happen. The future Apple Pencil may work on an iPhone and never need charging. So those of us with iPads are probably quite aware of the Apple Pencil. And it does many things and it works quite well, but you can't write on an iPhone display or a iMac display, not with that. And also, I have one, I keep it in a drawer, and I don't often charge it up. And actually, the batteries are unhappy when they're left discharged for months at a time. So having a pencil that doesn't need a battery would be quite a coup. Apple's looking at this technology to completely remove the need for a charge and at the same time maintain its ability to perform in so many ways. The Apple Pencil did a lot more than just draw lines. So it's not only going to be on the iPad that it'll work, but also on iPhones, the MacBook Pro, possibly even Apple Watches. So don't hold your breath, but this might be neat.
So what that brings up for me, are we talking about Macs that are going to be touch sensitive? Sounds like it.
Yeah, and I can't answer that. They did provide some information on how this thing will work, and because you need power to accomplish these things. But what happens is it's the screen that you're using that will provide what is necessary to make the writes and the draws work. So it'll be built into the iPad and to the MacBook Pro and so forth with the newer screens. And then the Apple will have what is necessary to be able to interface with it, but not need to be charged. No battery. Incidentally, the reason why this might come to pass is that Apple took out a patent on what they called the optical stylus system. It's 70 pages long in single-space legalese and includes 30 pages of drawings. So they're serious about it, but it may or may not come to pass. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay. I include this last one because I had some direct experience with it. Apple's 35-watt dual port power adapter is a steal at just $40. And this was reported by Michael Simon of Macworld. And he reported this last Thursday, April 11th. So Apple lists this power adapter at $59, and you could get this thing at Amazon for just $40. So that's a significant discount, $19, about 1/3 of the price. And it's a good device. I have a USB-C adapter, and it's fine, but it only has one port on it. And there are a lot of knockoffs that are kind of cheap that will have a couple ports, but they won't, the 35 watts will be shared between the two of them. So you don't really get 35 watts at each port. Also, this one, because it is built by Apple, it's certified. And that means if something goes wrong, Apple, you can count on, will stand behind it. Now, I noticed the sale on Sunday, April 14th, when I was checking Amazon. The price had risen almost $4. But I've gotten tired of swapping cables to charge both my iPad and my Apple Watch from my single port adapter. So I went ahead and bought this one, and I saved 25%, so I'm still a happy camper. Any comments or questions?
Very good to know.
Yeah, you might check right now to see if it's still at $43.98, or whether Amazon has pushed the price up again. Because these sales, they come and they go very quickly. Okay.
Costco has an Anchor set, 65 watts with 2 outputs, and a 30 watt with a single USB-C output for $39. And it's Anchor. So
Rick, are you talking about an Anchor device that has 3 output ports, or?
it's 2 Anchor devices for sale for $39. The one with 2 ports is 65 watts, and the one with 1 port is 30 watts. I just bought them the other day before I took a little trip. It's a pretty good value, I thought.
Yeah.
But it's Anchor, not Apple. But I've had good luck with Anchor stuff.
Yeah. Anchor is a quality company, so
Yeah.
it's good information. Okay, well, moving on to Miscellany. Doesn't quite fit into Apple News, but I came across this article in the iDrop News by Sergio Velasquez. Its URL will be on the same news link page that's on, I believe, our chat line, but also in the DVMUG folder on the BBS. At any rate, you might want to go ahead and actually check that one out, which is why I'm sharing it. We get our new iPhones. They work really wonderfully from the moment you just charge them up, but you might feel a little intimidated about everything they do, or just not have time to get around to checking what they do. And the secret to it is in the settings. So this article shows 15 activities that you can perform with your iPhone. And if it's not, the latest iPhone able to run the latest iOS, it might not do all these things. But even some of the older ones can do many of them, if not all. And the first activity was shake your iPhone to undo anything. And the page in the article shows these 3 pictures: going to settings, going to accessibility, going to touch. And actually the page looks more like this. So you can see the whole thing, where Sergio describes what the activity is, how to go to settings to check whether it's available to you, or you need to change your settings a bit. And then it's good to go. I've actually repeated what he did for just shake your phone if you wanted to try this out and haven't done it already. But the steps are as he described them. You go to the settings app, you scroll down and tap accessibility, select touch, scroll down and toggle to shake to undo. And if you have shake to undo selected, then you should be able to, you're typing away on your iPhone, you're dictating away whatever it is, and oh, I don't want that. Instead of using the delete key, you can actually shake it and get rid of that particular message. So I imagine many of you, maybe most of you, already know about that particular activity. I'm going to quickly go through the next 14 because we don't have time to actually study them. But I have a hunch maybe there's not one of us who already is using all 15 of these activities. Why don't you do a little inventory as we go through this? So the second one is reach anywhere on your screen with reachability. And what that means is you can literally pull the display downward or move it up to a certain degree. And that's as much as I'll say about that. Add a camera grid to take better pictures. Start using focus modes. Hide your hidden album. Personally, I didn't know I had a hidden album, so now I know. Stop apps from asking for ratings or reviews. Choose what you can access on your lock screen. Stop using your iPhone so close to your face. I wasn't aware this was available on the iPhone either, but it can be helpful for people who are myopic, or, it can help people from becoming myopic. Don't let Apple track you. Use picture-in-picture. Change your default mail app. See your iPhone's battery percentage. Start using the dark mode. And manage location services. So that's the whole array of 15 activities that Sergio Velasquez has laid out how to check or set your settings. Would anybody care to comment? Anybody out there who already manages all those 15 activities? Okay, let us move on. So moving on to this week's videos. Again, here is the listing with clickable links. And we'll start with Gary on, well, I'll let him say it actually. I've lost the page. 10 common internet scams and how to avoid them. This is the longest video of the array. Several of them are quite short, but I thought this was really worth listening to. Probably we've all heard warnings about scams and so forth, and might even be getting kind of tired of them. But I have never heard it explained as well as Gary explains it. So let's go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. The best way to protect yourself from online scams is to learn about them. Here are 10 of the most common scams going around today. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So this first scam is fairly common, especially if you use Venmo, but it could happen on other payment systems as well. The way it works is you get some money from somebody you don't know. So all of a sudden there's money sent to you. But then they send you a message saying that it was a mistake. They send it to the wrong person. A lot of times they'll include a sob story about how they need the money back as quickly as possible. They've got medical bills, whatever. So they want you to send them the money back. But the thing is, when you send them money back, that's a legitimate transaction. But the money they sent you, that was done either with a stolen credit card or maybe they faked the entire thing. So eventually you find out you never had that money that they sent you, but you already sent them the same amount of money back. They've closed their account, they're gone, and there's no way for you to get that money back. So the way to avoid this is that if you ever get money from somebody you don't know, don't interact with them. Instead, send a message to support for that system like Venmo, telling them about the unexpected transaction and let the company's support handle it, not you. So this next scam happens when you're selling something online. Maybe you're selling on Craigslist or eBay, Facebook Marketplace, someplace like that. And you get an offer from somebody to buy it from you for more money than you've listed it for. Sometimes they'll say this extra money is because they want it shipped in a special way, or they want to send somebody to pick it up, something unusual. What they're trying usually to do is to get you away from the payment system that is safe. So for instance, on eBay, instead of paying through eBay, they want to send you the money directly or send you a check or something like that. And then you might ship them that product and then find out their payment was no good and you no longer have the product and no way to get it back. In fact, some of the time they may actually pay the regular amount, but then when they actually pay you, it's more money. And then they claim it's a mistake and they want you to send the money back. Then it's like the payment from a stranger scam. And now you might be out the product and some cash. So the way to avoid this is simply don't let somebody take you to another payment system. If somebody doesn't want to use, say, eBay's payment system, they want to use something else, that's a red flag. Don't do it. Sell it to the next person. And remember, for online transactions, checks are pretty much worthless, even if the person hands it to you themselves. Though the bank might actually deposit the money the next day in your account, it could take weeks to find out that the check is fraudulent, and then your bank's going to take that money away from you. So in this next scam, you're the buyer of the product online. In its simplest form, you buy something from somebody, and either you just don't get the product or you get an inferior product. Maybe, for instance, a knockoff iPhone instead of an actual iPhone. Maybe a much older MacBook than the one you thought you were getting. There are protections for this in various places where you buy things offline, but a scammer will try to take you away from that, saying that they could sell it to you cheaper or it's easier for them if you pay them in some other way. But of course, once you leave the system, then you have no recourse. You have no way to get your money back, to send the product back or any of that. Now, this happens a lot to Apple users because a very common version of this is somebody gets a MacBook and sells it online, but when you get it, you find out, maybe not for weeks, that the machine's actually stolen. And by that, I mean it actually has device management software installed. So this was a MacBook that was owned by a school or a company, and somebody either took it with them when they left their job or left the school, or stole it from the school or company and is now reselling it. The thing is, that Mac's never going to be yours. It's always going to be controlled by that organization. There's no way to remove this MDM software that's controlling the Mac. This makes it very difficult to buy a used MacBook, especially from another person rather than a reputable company. So to avoid this, make sure you're not lured away from whatever marketplace you originally were on to another kind of payment system. And if you can, actually look at what you're buying in person before you pay for it. That's very important if it's a Mac or an iPhone or something like that. Not only should you look at it, but also make sure you learn what you should be looking for to make sure the device isn't remotely managed, that it's not stolen, and that it actually works. So lottery scams are pretty common. You get a message or an email or a phone call claiming that you won some sort of lottery or sweepstakes or other kind of prize. But you just need to pay $75 or something for some sort of paperwork or something like that. But of course, there is no actual prize. You pay the money, and if you're lucky, they just take that. If you're not lucky, they may actually take more from your credit card or steal some identity information. The way to avoid this is easy. If you get a message saying that you've won some money, ignore it. These are always scams. So this next scam preys on people who are searching for jobs. The way it works is there'll be a job posting, often on a legitimate job website. The job posting is fake, and when you apply for it, you get a message saying they're very interested or maybe you got the job. But you've got to fill out a more detailed application or they have to run a background check, and they're going to try to charge you a fee for this. Of course, there is no job. It's completely fake. They're just looking to collect a fee from you and then disappear. Or worse, they could be trying to steal all this information from you that you put on that background check form. To avoid this, be careful if a company that claims to offer you a job is asking you for money. It doesn't work that way. Determine if the company is a real company and then call them and ask them about the job separate from the messages that you got. Often they'll tell you that there's no such job or nobody should be asking you for any money. So the tech support scam is pretty common. You get an email, a text message, or a phone call from somebody claiming to be from a company that you deal with, like maybe Apple, or it could be Microsoft, it could be your ISP. And they say they've detected a problem with your computer. It's got malware, it's got a virus, or something like that. And they want to help you. So they want you to give them access to your computer so they can log into it so that they can poke around. And of course, these people are not from any of these companies. Companies like this don't monitor your computer remotely. They don't call you out of the blue to provide help or anything like that. This is always a scam. What they're trying to do is, of course, get onto your computer, either steal information from you, get money from you somehow, or perhaps install something on your computer to do any of those later on. Now, sometimes this takes the form of an ad on a web page, but the ad is designed to look like it's an alert that's not part of the web page. Other times, web pages will send you a notification. It comes up as a notification from that website, but it's not easy to tell that. So you get this notification and you think it's coming from your system, but after you click on it, it takes you to the scammer or the scammer's website or displays a phone number, that kind of thing. To avoid this, just remember these companies don't remotely monitor your computer. They're not going to call you out of the blue and offer to help you or anything like that. Just ignore all of it. So the apartment posting scam is similar to the job posting scam. But in this case, you're looking to rent an apartment or perhaps a house and you see a listing. But the listing is faked. They take images from a previous listing or the last time that that house or apartment was put on the market, and they post it up just like they're the actual rental company. In particular, looking for people who are moving to town so they can't actually view apartments in person. They're doing it all online. But of course, they've got nothing to do with this apartment and it's probably not even for rent. They're going to tell you that you've got the apartment and they're going to want you to fill out an application so they can get information from you and then probably pay a fee, maybe even a security deposit. And they're just going to take that money. Then when you show up at the apartment, you're going to find out that it's not even for rent. So the way to avoid this, of course, is always insist on touring the apartment in person. If you can't do that because you're out of town, then you're going to have to plan either a trip to visit to find an apartment, or you're going to have to look for something like a hotel where you could stay at for a long period of time while you find an apartment. Renting an apartment online remotely is just filled with scammers. So the online romance scam has been around for a long time, probably since the beginning of the internet. And it could start certainly in a dating app, but it could also start anywhere that you chat and meet other people. And it goes very slowly because the scammer actually has dozens or maybe even hundreds of people on the hook. So they can take their time over days, weeks, months to befriend you and then let a romance bloom. And once they think you're on the hook, they may talk about some sort of financial problems that they're having, healthcare bills, or maybe they just want some money so they can come out and meet you for the first time. Often they'll avoid actually ever asking you for money, just telling you about their problems until you offer money. The people that run these are experts in psychology. They know exactly what to say. And often they're working with scripts and techniques that have been developed over decades of scamming people. So they're really good at saying just the right thing. Now, the way to avoid this is simply never to send money to somebody that you don't know in real life. But of course, the scammers are experts at getting you to do that. So another way to avoid this is to make sure that if you are starting an online romance, that your friends and family know about it and listen to what they have to say if they have concerns. The sheriff scam is a way for a scammer to get some really quick money. It can work in just minutes. So you get an email, a text message, or a phone call from somebody claiming to be from the sheriff's office or any other law enforcement agency. And they tell you that perhaps you've missed jury duty or you have outstanding parking fines. Something that seems kind of plausible, like you may have actually missed the notice in the mail or it didn't get to you. And they say that you're in big trouble, maybe that you're even going to be arrested soon. but you can take care of it by paying right now. And they offer some sort of reasonable amount, $100, $300. Strangely, they often want you to pay with gift cards, which should be a red flag. But at this point, the whole thing seems so urgent that you're very distracted and may fall for it. They try to keep you on the phone or keep you chatting online. They'll claim, for instance, that if you try to actually call the sheriff's department or go in yourself, that you'll be arrested on the spot. So to avoid this, just ignore them. A sheriff's department or law enforcement agency is not going to call you and ask you for money over the phone like this. It just doesn't happen. It's always a scam. And finally, there's the wrong number scam. This very often starts with a text message from somebody you don't know. And the text message is specifically designed to get you to respond to the wrong number. It might be something like, I'm at the restaurant waiting for you, or I'll pick up your kid after school today. Something to make you feel like you really should respond saying, oh, you texted the wrong number. And then they'll respond saying, thanks. And then they'll strike up a conversation, maybe right then, maybe later. They'll tell you how nice it is that you actually responded to them. They'll start talking to you. It seems perfectly harmless, but the goal for them is to actually keep telling you about how successful they are or how much money they have until you eventually start asking them about it. Then they'll talk about some sort of investment strategy they use or how they invest in cryptocurrency, something like that. They get you to actually ask them, how can I make money too? And they'll actually refuse to take money from you, sending you off to an app or a site that they say they use. But when you go to actually use it to invest, you'll find sometimes much, much later that it's a scam and they've just actually taken the money from you. The way to avoid this is simple. If you get a message from a wrong number, don't respond. It's almost always a scam. So let me finish with some basic rules. First, never assume that you're too smart to be scammed. From time to time, even experts get scammed. So you always want to be on guard, and overconfidence can lead you into trouble. Education is your best defense. Continuing to learn about scams, watching videos like this, reading about them is very important. The more you know about scams and how they work, the better your chances of recognizing a scam when somebody tries it on you. And since education is the best defense, the way to help others is to spread this information. Let friends and relatives know about these scams and how they work. Talk to them about it as an interesting topic to discuss, not a warning. The more that you could teach them about scams, the better their defenses will be. You need to do that before they become the victim of one of these scams. Once somebody is in the middle of being scammed, it's very hard for them to see what's going on and to admit that they're being scammed. If you like this video, click the thumbs up.
Yes. Any questions or comments? I happen to know of a couple people who have fallen for scams, and in one case lost basically the inheritance nest egg. So it's sad.
It happens all the time. It happens more than you think because sometimes people don't want to talk about it because they're embarrassed about what happened. So
Yeah.
you should spread the word. When you hear a story that happened to you, tell everybody how that happened. It's going around. That's what's currently happening.
Yeah. So I do think Gary is really articulates it well.
I identify with one of the job scams. I personally received text message with some gibberish in it, indicating that I did apply for a job and to open this text message and fill out some paperwork to finalize the job. And that was exactly what he was talking about. And another one is I get texted by mainly females with sending their pictures and telling me that they were going through their phone books and found my number in there. They are totally in the dark of who I am. Can I reply so they can refresh their memories and that kind of stuff. So didn't fall for either one of them.
I probably shouldn't do it, but when I get those, I respond with a very crude vulgarity and suggest that they perform an act upon themselves. And I never hear from them again.
That's a good idea, though. I just mark it junk and delete it.
Don't
I probably
engage.
shouldn't respond at all. But
Don't
Yeah, you shouldn't
engage.
respond at all because you're probably letting them know that you're an actual person so that it might put your address or phone number in their database.
I
Yeah,
have I
it's
kept
not.
Microsoft on the phone for 20 minutes one time, getting as far as the supervisor to try to get me to fix my computer.
Hey,
They
your eyeballs.
I said, what do I do? They said, use the window key and the R key. And I said, well, where's the Windows key? And I said, oh, I found it. Well, what happened? I said, the screen went black. Well, restart your computer. And I went through this whole litany with them.
that's kind of fun.
It can be. There's some wonderful videos out there of the people who deliberately catch the scammers, send them to honeypots, specially set up websites to trap them.
Take a look at Tom Mabe, who does the ultimate thing with a telemarketer who tells the telemarketer, you've reached a murder scene.
Oh,
There's a cartoon that I've saved where it's I think it's from a strip called Peaches. It's this old man, he answers the phone and he says, "You're on the air," and they hang up.
There you go. You're on the air. Go ahead, caller.
You're on the air.
That's a good one. I like that.
Well, that's a good one. Yeah.
Well, I usually answer it, police department front desk, how may I help you?
yeah,
That's a good one too.
homicide
Oh,
department. Anyway, moving on to the next video. It's on how to update your iPad, and it's by Apple Support. And they have a parallel video on how to update your iPhone, which we won't view today, but is right there on their website. So here is how to update your iPad.
By keeping your iPad up to date, you can get the most out of your device with the latest features and security enhancements. We'll show you how to update your iPad wirelessly and how to update it using a computer. Before you start, you should back up your device. If you're updating wirelessly, you'll need to plug your iPad into power and connect to Wi-Fi. If you're using a Mac or a Windows computer to update, you'll need a compatible cable. Let's start by showing you how to update your iPad wirelessly. When there's an update available, you might get an alert, which you can tap to start the update process. Or a badge might appear on the Settings app icon on your home screen. To check for an update, open Settings, tap General, and then tap Software Update. You might have the option to choose between two available updates. If you'd like to continue using your current version of iPad OS, there might be important security updates you can install for a period of time. Or you can upgrade to the latest version. You can tap Update Tonight if you want to wait until later, and your iPad will update overnight while it is locked and the battery has enough charge. To update right away, tap Update Now. Then enter your passcode. Follow any other prompts, which might include reviewing and accepting terms and conditions to continue. Your iPad will begin the update process, and when it's finished, your iPad will restart. Next, let's look at how you can update your iPad using a computer. Before starting the update, make sure your device is plugged into a computer and that the computer is connected to the internet. If you're using a Mac with Mac OS Catalina or later, open the Finder. If you're using a Mac with Mac OS Mojave or earlier, or a Windows computer, open iTunes. A notification might appear when an update is available. You can click it to start the update process. Otherwise, click your device in the sidebar on the left side of the Finder. Make sure you're in the General tab, and then click Update. Then, Click Update again and follow the prompts, which might include reviewing and accepting terms and conditions to continue. Your iPad will restart when it's done. And that's how you can get your iPad up to date with all the latest features and security enhancements. Subscribe to the Apple Support YouTube channel to learn more about your iPad, or click another video to keep watching. Some sequences in this video were shortened.
Any thoughts, questions? Well, I reiterate, there is a parallel how to update your iPhone Apple Support app. And I know they've done these things in the past, but with new generations of phones and iPads and so forth, sometimes there are minor changes. So it can be helpful to just have that website targeted when you need to go to do one of the things that was shown. The third video is by Rich Bolin. The title is Why, basically I'll paraphrase it, why are there so many YouTube ads? And let's go ahead and take a look at it. I know I get annoyed with the YouTube ads, and I imagine those of you who watch videos and have a free account on YouTube, you might also feel that way. Let's see what he has to say.
There are a lot of ads on YouTube, and I'm pretty sure that almost no one likes wading through ads in order to watch the video you clicked on, especially if it's a short video. Hi, my name is Rich. I'm a content creator making videos on how to use your iPhone and iPad. And whenever you watch one of my videos, there are ads at the beginning, sometimes in the middle, and usually at the end. I watch videos on YouTube like you do, and while an ad might catch my eye every now and then, most of the time, like TV ads, I just want them to be over. But there's an endless stream. So why are there so many ads on YouTube? Well, the answer is simple. Ads are the revenue source used to keep YouTube running. No ads, no YouTube. I was skimming around the internet in preparation for this video, and I read so many inappropriate comments about ads. It was crazy. So many people think that ads are there to ruin their lives. They completely miss the bargain, which is in exchange for maintaining a vast technical structure all over the world that provides an outlet for incredible content on every subject imaginable, you have to watch some ads. It's really that simple. The YouTube product and experience, despite these ads, at least to me, is quite incredible. I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, we had, 3 or 4 TV channels with a TV antenna, which had to be moved every time we got up, walked to the TV, and turned a dial to change channels. And there were a lot of commercials then too, so compared to my childhood, YouTube is a dream come true. But I get it, that was then and this is now. My own journey on YouTube has been sort of strange. I started this channel by uploading a couple of videos on how to use your iPad so my 90-year-old mom could learn a few things. But those early videos took root, followed by other people asking for tutorials. And from that, the channel you see today was born. But it wasn't without expense on my part. I made some sizable investments, around $20,000 to get started, in order to purchase the gear I needed to make the videos the way I wanted to make them. Fancy cameras and lenses and microphones and computers are all needed to put together a good video. Not too long after I started this channel, YouTube sent me a message that I was eligible for the YouTube Partner Program. That's the program where YouTube shares ad revenue with the content creator. For a channel my size, it's not a lot of money. I don't pay for my shoes with my YouTube earnings, but it is nice to get a little money to offset the cost of putting out a regular stream of videos. So ads make sense for me, even if they don't for most viewers. So is there a way to avoid all of these ads? Well, actually there is, but it's not free either because, nothing in life is free. It's called YouTube Premium, and it costs $14 a month at the time of the making of this video. So there's actually a second bargain. In exchange for maintaining a vast technical structure all over the world that provides an outlet for incredible content on demand covering every subject imaginable, You have to pay $14 a month for an ad-free experience. You know, maybe a better way to think about this is to just accept that you have to pay a price to watch YouTube, namely, watching ads before you get to the good stuff. But by doing that, you're supporting the YouTube infrastructure and your favorite content creators. If ad revenue to the actual people who make videos you like to watch dried up, most of the videos would dry up too, and I think you know what I mean. You know, but if the ads have just ruined YouTube for you, I completely understand. Maybe it's time to set your iPad or iPhone down and have a nice conversation with friends or family. I mean, that's pretty much how it was when I grew up and I survived. And if you're watching this video, you did too. If you watch my videos despite the ads, thanks so much. As I make these videos, you could say I'm an old dog learning new tricks. I'm pretty much self-taught on how to do all of this, and I really do try to put out videos that are helpful. I guess living with the ads or just the cost of admission. I never dreamed I'd be making a video on this topic, but there it is, short and sweet. Okay, that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching, and hopefully I'll see you after a couple of non-skippable ads in my next video.
Yeah, you know, it's the problem is that I think $14 a month is too high a price.
That's too high.
If it
I
was
agree.
$7 or $8 a month, I would be in, but 14 is too high. I
Yep.
guess if you watch YouTube all day, it would be worth it. And I know some people do that. They're just, that's their, where they get all their entertainment from is YouTube, but I don't.
You're
You said
absolutely
that
right,
so
Kenji.
nicely.
And one other thing, I don't mind the intro, the commercial, the 5 seconds of commercials before you can skip it before a video, but I hate the way they just blurt in commercials in the middle of the content without any
Yes.
kind of segue. It's just suddenly boom, you're watching the commercial, and boom, you're back in the show.
Sometimes you can, a lot of times, at least on the Apple TV, you can just tap the remote. It'll have a little timer, and you can wait 5 seconds and then skip it. If you don't skip it, the thing can run for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know.
And
Yeah,
some of them are some of them are not skippable.
right. Some of them are not skippable.
I don't know how they determine that.
As a subscriber to YouTube TV, I had hoped that I would get a discount for YouTube, but no such luck. So I'm not paying $14 a month for that when I've got like Apple TV, I think is $9 a month.
There's also something with some of the channels, even on Roku or Apple TV, such as CNN. If you're in the middle of a show, you hit the commercial, you can't scan past it. But if you stop it while it's still in the show, just before the commercial hits, you can scan past the commercial.
Oh,
Yeah, they're all, it's a moving target. It changes. I mean, they got you in there watching the YouTube over the years, and they have no commercials. And then finally they put in some commercials, and then they want to get, they offer you a free trial for a month or a couple months before.
Yeah, I think it's like 2 or 3 months.
Right. I did that once. And I don't remember it being 15 when they started charging. I think it was more like 5, and it crept up just like everything else. But there's shows that I watch that are only on YouTube. They're not anywhere else. They're regularly weekly shows or bi-weekly shows that they're not anywhere else.
Well, your free trials are limited only by the number of email addresses you have.
Some people,
That's an interesting idea.
some of the people on YouTube who have millions of followers and views make a lot of money off of that, but they're very few and far between.
So Rich doesn't make enough to buy shoes, he said. So I'm wondering what kind of shoes he's buying. Are those like $500 shoes?
I think I looked at his viewers and it was like in the hundreds. It wasn't in the hundreds of thousands. It wasn't huge.
My favorite part of that video was examining his setup.
Studio. He spent a lot of money on his studio.
And he had 2 devices mounted to the side of his table that looked like maybe they were like iPad minis or something. There were 2, one over the other, like to the side of his head. Did you notice that? And I wondered what those were.
I think they're probably adequate for doing video in high quality, like, for side views and other views. He switches around different multiple cameras in his
Right.
views.
He has pretty high production values.
Yeah.
He does.
He's an attorney also.
If you ever watched, Chris Wysocki got me hooked on this. It's not, he doesn't make many videos, but a guy named Casey Neistat, he got to be famous. He would do a 5 to 10 minute video every single day. Super high production. He was a movie maker and he made a lot of money on it. He became, I think he made them for several years in a row, and then he stopped, and he basically makes like one a month now. He was every single day. It was unbelievable.
How do you spell his last name?
It's Nistad, Neistat, Casey Neistat. Oh, he's one of the most famous YouTubers of all time.
Okay.
It can be a vicious business for the big names.
It's Neistat, and his first name is Casey.
There you go.
I've got a
Well,
neighbor that does YouTube videos, making nothing but money at it. Some kid in his early 20s.
Yeah, if you just want to see how video production, the quality is, watch Casey's. He's a storyteller. He does multiple shots and cameras, and it's like follows himself all handheld in New York City, rides a skateboard all over. It's unbelievable, the quality of the production.
I will say, as far as cameras go, your iPhone, especially the newer ones, are really quite magnificent. Of course, that doesn't mean you have reflectors and lighting stands and all the other stuff that you really need to get, the correct depth and look. But that one piece would probably cost thousands of dollars just for a camera. So we're fortunate. I'm going to move on to the next video. This one is by Ellen Sweeney, and 7 tips to view your photos on the iPhone. Let's just go ahead and go there.
In this video, I'll discuss some of my favorite tips for viewing photos on your iPhone and iPad. These tips will help you find your photos even if your library has thousands of pictures and videos. Welcome to Ellen's Tips for iOS, where I help seniors master their iPhones and iPads. If you find the video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Opening the Photos app, you'll notice some tabs along the bottom. When tapping on Library, you have the option to see all photos, or you can look at photos based on years, months, or days. However, if you have thousands of photos, it would take forever to scroll through all of them to find the photo that you're looking for. So let's look at some easy tips for organizing your media based on albums and other features. Organizing your photos and videos by albums is one of the easiest ways to organize. For example, if you vacationed in Nova Scotia, you can make an album called Nova Scotia and put all of your photos from that vacation into that folder. So to create an album, we're going to open the Photos app, and I'm already in there. I'm going to go ahead and select the Albums tab. And once I do, I can select the plus sign in the upper right or upper left corner, and I can say New Album. So I'm going to tap on New Album, and I'm going to give it a name. And for this one, I'm just going to call it Kittens. I'm going to go ahead and tap on Save. And then you'll see that all of the photos that I have in my library appear, but I can narrow it down by using the search bar. So if I tap into the search bar and I type in kittens, I should get, so if I hit search, you'll see that 247 photos are of kittens. And if I want to add them, I can just tap on the ones that I want to add, and I can select them. I can even, if I want to, drag my fingers across them to select multiple or many. And then when I'm finished, I can go ahead and tap on add. And now I've just created a folder called kittens. Tip number 2, hide sensitive material. Your iPhone and iPad can hide photos and videos and can be protected by Face ID or Touch ID, even if you hand over your unlocked iPhone or iPad to someone else. So if you're in the habit of taking screenshots or photos of your tax returns or bank statements, or have other photos and videos you want to keep private, use this helpful feature. Go ahead and open the Photos app, tap on Library, and then locate the photo you want to hide. Push and hold on that photo. A pop-up menu appears. Go ahead and select Hide. Another pop-up appears. Tap on Hide Photo, and you'll see that that photo disappears. To access that hidden library, you'll want to come in and tap on Albums, and you want to make sure that you're on the main Albums page. Scroll down until you see Utilities, locate Hidden, and you'll see the little lock icon next to it. I'm going to tap on Hidden. Face ID comes into play, and you'll see there that the photo that I selected Hide for has been put into the hidden photo album. If I want to remove it, I just do the same thing. I push and hold on the photo. I can go ahead and tap on Unhide, and it will return that photo to the library area. Tip number 3, clean up duplicates. Duplicates can take up lots of storage, but you can find and manage all your duplicates if you have lots of them using this tip. And here's how to do that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to open the Photos app. We're going to tap on Albums at the bottom. We're going to scroll down and locate Utilities, and now we'll tap on Duplicates. Once I tap on Duplicates, you'll see that I have the option to merge them if I want to, and it tells me that I have 716 photos and 28 videos. You can merge or delete them by choosing Select in the upper right corner, and I can select whichever ones I want. And once I do that, so let me just select one. Once I do that, I have the option to merge them. I will go ahead and select Merge, and it'll say Merge to exact copies. I'll go ahead and do that, and those duplicates will disappear. Tip number 4, get rid of screenshots and unnecessary media, selfies, bursts. They can clutter up your library, and you can clean them up by going to Albums and Media Types, and then select the media that you want to get rid of. So in this case, let's say I go to Screenshots. You'll see that all of the screenshots I've taken appear here. I can tap on Select and select the ones I want, or I can select all and get rid of all of them at one time. Tip number 5, use location to organize your photos. Your iPhone can geotag all photos by adding correct location information. Now you can easily find images by using their locations. So we'll open the Photos app, tap on Albums along the bottom, locate People, Pets, and Places. Go ahead and tap on Places. And now you'll see a map with all the photos that you've taken in the areas that they were taken, I can go ahead and tap on Grid at the top, and you'll see all photos sorted according to their place and date. Tip number 6, organize your photos by people. Once you start taking photos of the same people or pets, the Photos app will automatically sort these photos in the People section. This makes it easy to find a specific person. You can also tag people to help the Photos app get this right. So to view this, you open the Photos app and you tap on Albums along the bottom, go to People, Pets, and Places, tap on People and Pets, and you'll see a listing of people, and you can see the tags along the bottom. You'll also see pets. And if I wanted to tag a specific pet, I could go ahead and tap on that pet. So I'll do that. And once I do that, I can tap Add a Name. And then I can give that pet a name. Tap on Next. And now it says, this pet is now named Ella. I'll tap on Done. And then any photos, once I start taking more photos of Ella, the iPhone will start adding that name to those photos. Tip number 7, see only edited photos. If you edit a photo and can't locate it among all the images you've taken, here's an easy way to do that. Open the Photos app, tap on Library in the bottom left corner, tap the circle with 3 dots in the upper right-hand corner, tap on Filter, and then tap on Edited. And then that will narrow down the photos to only the edited photos, allowing you to locate the photo that you were looking for. This video provides practical tips for viewing photos on your iPhone and iPad, from creating albums and hiding sensitive content to managing duplicates and utilizing features like geotagging and facial recognition. These methods help streamline photo management. If you found the video helpful, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Any comments or questions?
Peter,
Yeah,
is someone-
photo recognition can be really comical the way Apple's algorithm works. Some of it is ridiculous.
Okay.
Peter, is this one of the videos that you've edited? Because it was super crisp.
I mean, cut off the little black beginning.
Right.
I don't recall for sure if it happened with this video or not. But some videos download in 1080p and some in 720, and it makes a big difference in terms of how crisp it is. Yeah, I was impressed with hiding away pictures of documents. Like I have my driver's license and certain credit cards, pictures of them, but I feel uneasy about just having them in my library, and I haven't used a hidden folder, so I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. Any other comments?
I think we are so lucky with the Macintosh. Here we've got this wonderful Photos application. We've got Pages, Keynote, Numbers, all of the stuff that comes built into the Mac. Yet people on the other side complain how expensive Macs are, but look what you get for free. It's just amazing.
And they're just not that expensive. I mean, starting prices are very reasonable these days.
Yeah, and I saw in Wired today, they were talking about some PCs that cost as much or more than Macs.
She was telling how.
Jan, you do have a question. Are you finished?
Can I?
Kenji?
Can I make a
Yeah.
comment?
Yep.
Yes, please, go ahead. Go ahead, Jan.
It's like
Now,
Jan is freezing.
yeah, you frozen.
Yeah.
When you come back, we'll get your question, and hopefully you'll be back. Anyone else? Okay, well, let's move on. Hopefully Jan will check back in. This is 3 iPhone tips by the, let's see, she calls herself Techie Tutor, but I think she actually is pretty good about certain things, and this is a short one. Let's have a look at it.
Can I ask a question before you run it?
Sure.
In that last video, were any of those features that Ellen demonstrated only available in iOS, or can you do all those things on a Mac?
Pretty much, the Photos app was pretty much the same across versions.
Yeah, they're all on the Mac
Yeah.
as well.
Because it would seem like, why would you want to do that on do all that?
Yeah, it's easier to do that kind of stuff on the computer with a bigger screen.
Or your iPad.
Right.
Okay, that's all.
She didn't talk about tagging.
Looks like Jan is unfrozen now. Do you want to ask your question, Jan?
Oh, really? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're back.
Oh, my comment on the last one was Ellen made a big thing about how you could search for where you took a picture and what time and when and where, and you could, find that way. But they took away our previous ability to events. I thought events were very helpful, and iPhoto and Aperture. Why'd they take that away? Then you'd get everything that you took at one time in one place.
They do that.
It's
in
called
places-
Apple
in
give it
places,
and Apple takes it
automatically-
away.
I think John has a comment on.
It still has a
Sure.
thing called Places where you zoom in on the map and it groups them by the GPS tags, and you can zoom in on where it was and get right to the location.
Yeah, I know, but I liked events.
Well, it used to be in iPhoto, every time you brought pictures in from your phone before the photo library syncing through the internet, it would make a new, what did they call it? A new album? They make a new event every single time. Boom, boom. Every time you brought, every day would be an event, whether they were at the same, and it got to be all these things in a row, and you could kind of organize them and drag them around. But after a while, you get tens of thousands of photos in there. That don't work so well.
Hmm.
So they try to do that automatically now. There's a thing called memories, where it automatically groups a significant event. Here's your Christmas from 2020. Here's this, and they're like, this is your memory.
They're always
this-
they're sticking that in my face when I don't want it, those memories. I find them more intrusive and unpleasant.
Well, I believe Gary did a video once about how to edit memories, so you can actually take things out of there that you don't want, and like edit it like an album. You can make edits to it.
That'd be useful.
Yeah. You can check on MacMost. All of his videos are there. He has them grouped by category, so you might be able to find it easily.
Usually what they do is when there's a new feature comes out, everybody talks about it and has a video or whatever, and then they kind of forget about it, and because in the next version, some other new thing comes around, they talk about that, but those older things usually hang around until, like when people first switched from iPhoto to the Photos app, they hated it because like they lost all these features, and over the years, they've put most of that stuff back in, plus much more.
Yeah,
Okay.
when are they going to put in where you can search what albums a particular picture is in? That is so dumb that they took that away.
Well, I'm going to move on to the next video, and let's go ahead and just let it play.
Hello, welcome to Techie Tutor. Today I'm going to go over a few new tips that I'd like to share with you. I'm going to be showing you some hidden features of iOS 17, so stay tuned and let's get started. I'm going to open up my messages, and I'm going to create a new message. I'm going to just put a funny sentence in here. I want pizza on an airplane, and then I want to play basketball. Now look what happens. When I press the emoji symbol, some of the words turn orange. And I was always wondering why they turn orange. But did you know if you tap on the orange words, an emoji pops up, and then you can easily change it. Tap on basketball, tap on pizza. There we go, we have our airplane, and now we have a very exciting message to send with 3 emojis right in there. But I thought that was a pretty cool hidden feature. So next time you're writing a message, when you notice some words are in orange, what that means is that there's a paired emoji that goes with that word. And here's another really cool feature that you can use when you're typing, no matter where you're typing, whether it's in an email or on messages. You can easily place your cursor just by using the trackpad function. Here you go. Let me show you. When you're having trouble moving that cursor, try this. Hold down the space bar and you'll notice that all the letters disappear and they become a trackpad. You can easily move the cursor anywhere. And this is easier for me. Let's say I want to change the word I to we. It was just that easy. And here's another quick tip. If you are typing, whether it's in iMessage or Notes or in any app, and you would like to access additional characters, when you're typing, if you hold down the character, other possibilities will appear. So if you need, for some reason, another character, it will come through. So again, what you will do is while you're typing, you hold down any character and the other options come through just by an extended hold. If you found this video helpful, please press the like button and subscribe so you'll be notified of any new videos I have. And let me know in the comments if you found it helpful or what videos you'd like to see next.
Okay, few little tips there. I didn't know the emoji one.
Yeah, I like that emoji one.
One other thing about emojis is that if you're in a message, you can say insert happy face emoji, insert whatever the name of the emoji is, and you don't even have to select it. It just puts it in for you.
Good to know.
Yeah, you just have to know what what the specific name is.
Right.
I use the trackpad feature all the time. It's really helpful.
Yep.
Yes.
The meaning of emojis changes based on the age of the audience.
That's true.
Okay, I'm going to move on to the next video. This one's by Gary again, and it's how to sort files in the Finder on a Mac. So there's a lot of sorting going on with this array of videos. I think Gary gives the most comprehensive look at it as usual. Here we go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Let's take a look at sorting in the Finder. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 2,000 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about it, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So when you're looking at files in the Finder, it's very common to want to sort them so you can easily find things. Now before you sort, you should note which Finder view you're using because of course sorting is going to look very different in each view. You've got icon view, list view, column view, and gallery view. But if you're sorting, you probably want list view. So we'll start there, but we'll take a brief look at the other views as well. So when you're in list view, everything is in columns and you see the column titles at the top. In this case, we've got name, date modified, size, and kind. You could adjust the column widths by grabbing the line right there like that. And you can even move them around. So I can move size to the left here to be in front of date modified if I want. Now to sort, you can go to view and then sort by. But before we do that, I'm going to look at this item above it, use groups. If you have the use groups turned on, then everything is grouped together like this. When people have trouble sorting, one of the most common reasons is they don't realize that they have use groups turned on, and then they're using group by rather than sort by. So if you just want one long list of files and you want to sort them, make sure use groups is turned off. So with that off, let's go back to View and then sort by, and then we can sort by a variety of different things here. So we see the names of these 4 columns. There's name, there's last modified by, there's size, and there's also kind. And we can choose which one we want to sort by. The check mark will appear next to the one that we've chosen. There are also a variety of keyboard shortcuts you can use to quickly change your sorting order. So if I wanted to switch to, say, kind, I could do that. Now I could see the kind column is bolded right there instead of the name column. And if I look at the names, they're all over the place. But kind is actually sorted correctly. Let's close this folder up here so we're just looking at one level. And we can see all the folders are first. And then we have applications, JPEG images, Keynote, Microsoft. Notice how they are in an alphabetical order. So it makes sense. So I can go here to View and then sort by and say go back to name. And now things are sorted alphabetically by name. Notice here on the right side of whichever column is sorted is this little arrow pointing up. That means it's sorting in ascending order. In other words, A is first, Z is last. I can click right there and change that order. So now Z is last and A is first. And you could do that for any column. So for instance, if I were to go to size here, you could see it's sorting with descending order. So we've got the largest files first. But if I click here, I can see now the smallest files first. In fact, the folders, which technically don't have a size at all, they are first. And then you've got the files here with the tiniest one at the top. I'll show you in a minute how to actually have folders included in a size sort like this. So you don't actually need to use the View menu at all. Instead, you can just click on the column that you want and then click on the arrow next to it to change the order. And that's as easy as it gets. You just can sort that way. It's very easy to change. If you want to add more columns, you can. All you need to do is Control click, 2-finger click on a trackpad, or right click on a mouse in any of these titles here. And then you get this checklist here. You can add another one. Let's add date created. And now that's added as a column. And I can sort by that and change the order as well. And I can remove any the same way. You actually get the same options if you go to View and then Show View Options here. It'll show you the columns that you could have. This, of course, is specific to list view. You only get these columns with the various pieces of info for each file in list view. So here I can check and uncheck these. Now once you've got things sorted, you can actually use the keyboard to jump to things. So for instance, if I wanted to jump to the letter M here, I can just press M on the keyboard and you can see how it takes me to the first file that starts with M. If I wanted to get more specific, I can. See here I've got several different things under S. If I wanted to jump right to this one, it's SC. So I do S and then quickly C after that, and it will jump right to that file. So it makes it really easy to get around inside of a sorted list. That, of course, doesn't work so well if the list isn't sorted by name. Now, how does this work if we're in other views? For instance, if we're in column view right here, we could see everything in columns and then a big preview column here to the right. Note I've got no columns here at the top because the only information I can see about each file in the list is its name. I have to select a file and then I could see information about it here in the preview pane. But if I go to View, Sort By, I still have all these same options. So for instance, I could sort by kind. Now I could see everything put together by kind. Now, if I were to open up a folder right here, then the sorting would continue inside of this folder. So let's go to one here that has various different types of files. And you can see here the JPEGs are all together. It's because everything I'm seeing in this whole view is sorted by kind. If I change that to name, then you can see everything's sorted by name in all of the columns. Now let's switch over to icon view. So in icon view, you can actually place things where you want. So I can move this file and put it anywhere I want. This is a completely manual view where everything can be placed in a two-dimensional space however you want it. However, if you go to View and then Sort By and turn on one of the sorting options, then you no longer can change where the files are. I can do it by name here, and everything is going to be sorted by name, starting at the top left corner, going over to the right, and then to the next row and the next row. And if I try to drag a file around, it's just going to snap back to where it is. If you have a sorting option turned on, that's how Icon View works. If you want to go back to manually placing everything, then you want to go to None. And now it returns to all the individual locations for all these files. You do have a way to temporarily sort that allows you to then keep changing the position. If you go to View and then Clean Up By, and then say Clean Up By Name, it will move everything's position to an alphabetical order in this case. But then I can continue by moving things around like I want. So it's a little different than Sort By. Clean Up By just does it once and sets the positions and allows you to continue changing things. Sort By will keep things sorted no matter how much you drag them. And as you add new files or remove them from this, the sort order will be maintained. Now, Gallery View, of course, works the same basic way. You've got a list here horizontally at the bottom, and you can sort by anything that you want. So I could put, for instance, all the JPEG images together really easily by sorting by JPEG like that, or I can keep it sorted by name. It's just sorting this horizontal list instead of a vertical list that you see in column view. Now, I mentioned before that if you want to see folder sizes, you can. If I sort by kind here, it's going to put all the folders at the top because it doesn't have a size for these folders. Now, the reason for that is because you could have lots of folders with lots of files inside, and it could take a long time to calculate the total of all the files. So to make things nice and fast for you when viewing your files, folder sizes aren't calculated by default. But you can go to View and then Show View Options. And then there's an option right here, Calculate All Sizes. Turn that on, and then it will calculate all the sizes for all the folders. And if you're sorting by size, it will actually sort them accordingly. So let's go and do that. I'll do Size Sorting, and you can see now the folders actually fit in with the files where they're supposed to be. You can bring up that menu again. The shortcut is Command J, and turn that off. Now do note that when there's a tie, the tie is always broken by the file name. So for instance here, if I were to add the column tags and then have a column here called tags and sort by tags, you can see it puts all the ones with just the red tag together. And to break the tie, you can see it's in alphabetical order. Example, new, and sample here. Also note that sorting does a really good job of handling numbers. Let me show you. I'm going to add a bunch of files here. So I've added these 3 files and I put a number in front of them. And it sorted it in the order you expect, whether you think it's sorting alphabetically or it's actually taking the number there. But if it was sorting alphabetically, if I were to change this to 21, then alphabetically it should still go 1, 21, 3. However, it's not going to do that. Instead, it's going to put 21 afterwards because the Finder is smart enough to realize that these are numbers and it's going to put them in numerical order as you would expect. So there's no reason to do things like adding a 0 before a number like that to get the sorting order right. That was something we had to do on computers 20, 30 years ago, but not today. And the same thing for other files like these here. If I were to change this to 21 like that, note that it's sorted correctly. It doesn't put 21 before 3, even though technically with alphabetical order it should. So there's a look at sorting in the Finder. One of the most important things I want to get across though is it's very easy to change the sort and then change it back. So for instance, if you normally have a folder sorted by name, don't be afraid to change it to being sorted by size to find a file and then just go back to sorting it by name. It's really just a few clicks to do all of that. If it makes it faster to find the files you need, then do it. Don't get stuck on keeping sorting the same all the time. It's easy to change and change back. Hope you found this useful. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know.
Yeah, Gary takes my breath away because he just gets so much content into a short space. But really, very excellent information from my perspective. Jerry, do you have?
Yes.
Yes, one thing that really saved me a lot of time is in my email with the junk mail. When I had a lot of junk mail, I'd scan through it to find the good ones, but it was normally organized by date. I changed it by to name, and now whenever I can find the good ones, they're all right together. saved a lot of sorting time for me.
In this age of a coming election, I find that I am deleting, dumping 100 or more emails a day. It's just out of,
Unsubscribe from those political messages. They will stop. They do unsubscribe you from those.
okay, I'll give it a shot. Usually when I try to unsubscribe from stuff, it just stays there, but
Well, political stuff is like, especially if they ask for a donation, it's a legitimate candidate. My mom passed and her email used to get hundreds. She donated everything. And over time, I unsubscribe, and I still get her email, and there's no political stuff in there anymore.
Likewise with the political texts, you can reply stop and they will.
Yeah, they honor it.
okay, Lee, do you have a question?
Yes, I was just going to comment that in my recent experience, I have to put 010203 in when I'm using pages in a table.
It will not handle it in the way that Gary was talking about. Yeah.
Correct.
Interesting. I actually use 010203 when I create the video list for this this meeting, because if I don't have the 0 before the single digit numbers, it looks bad. You know, you don't get a
Line the numbers up in columns, even if you have to put extra 0 and before a 1-digit month or a 1-digit day, put a 0 in front of there, make all the date, all the months 2-digit, and all the days 2-digit.
right. Well, that's what I'm doing with the zeros. So you can see it on the right side of the video list, but yeah, that's just for formatting, you know. Any other thoughts?
Just a question, Peter. Do you
Yeah.
have a special format for your screen? Because I'm not seeing a full screen, and I'm seeing Peter Weiler's screen at the top as an icon.
I
I
just
see the full screen.
Yeah, what I see now is just sort of the light green with comments, questions.
Huh.
That's all that's there. So I'm not
I
sure what's
noticed
happening.
there was a notice pop up when I started today because it was a Zoom. It said there's new features in Zoom. Yeah, well, they changed the way the layout is when I'm recording. I used to be able to hide the people. Now when I do it, I can't hide them. I have to figure that out. So it was just full screen presenter. That's not happening in this recording.
If you're not seeing it properly, click on the three dots, the circled 3 dots where it says Peter Weller's screen, and you can adjust how it's being
Yeah, this, I guess, in the new update is what caused it, because I've got it set to fit to window.
That's what I have. It should work.
They've changed the
Yep.
view function with the latest releases on all the
That's exactly what
platforms.
they
Use
did.
your view menu.
Even 100% doesn't do it.
No, not there. Over on the right side, it says view. And there's a pop-down
View.
list of the ways you can view it. Anyway, we can discuss that later.
Okay.
We got another video?
I have one last video. It's only a minute long, actually
Okay.
59 seconds by Apple support. It talks about the dynamic island.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
On iPhone 14 Pro and later, you can check activity in progress in the dynamic island. Here's how. With your iPhone unlocked and activity showing in the dynamic island, touch and hold the activity to expand it and see more detail. To collapse the activity and make the dynamic island smaller, swipe up anywhere on your screen. You can switch between multiple activities by swiping left or right on the dynamic island. Tap the activity in the dynamic island to open the corresponding app. And to return the app activity back to the dynamic island, just swipe up from the bottom of the screen. To hide the activity, swipe left or right on the dynamic island until activity no longer appears. Then, Swipe left or right on the dynamic island to show the activity again. So many activities. To learn more about how to use your iPhone, subscribe to our Apple Support YouTube channel or click another video to keep watching.
Well, let's hold off on the social hour, and we have questions coming anyway. But
Well, that's the last video. Any more comments about this video, we'll include them in the recording, or otherwise we'll start a new recording for Q&A.
I do have a question. For those of you using the iOS 14 and so forth, how do you get live activities to show up in the dynamic island?
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything either.
Yeah. Okay. I guess I'll ask Siri or Google.
It's a matter of which app not all apps do that.
Oh,
Right. But when they do show up, then you tap it and it expands.
give an example of one where it does something.
You into screen share, Peter?
I
with it?
will end the screen share, yes.
Yeah, well, okay, we'll end the recording now for the people watching on YouTube, DVMUG members, or we'll have another hour of this meeting with Q&A, and you can find the link to that recording on the BBS. So if you want to come and join us live for Q&A, you're welcome to next Tuesday afternoon. And I'll